Devin Pike with the Dallas International Film Festival, here with the two. The weird thing is, it's hard to say leads for Flutter because it's such an amazing cast. It's Charles Halford and Lindsay Pulsipher. Guys, first off, phenomenal job in the movie. And I told Glenn earlier, I told Eric this yesterday, Flutter sticks with you. I texted Glenn 2 days after I saw it saying I'm still thinking about this movie. And a lot of it was due to your performances. So first off, phenomenal job. And thank you for coming to the Dallas International Film Festival.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you, Devin.
We've had a good time. We love this festival.
It's a movie that it will tear your heart in 9 different directions and keep it going. And your performance is so naked and raw in it. It's one of those things where you wonder where you have to go as an actor to get into that mindset. So I'm curious, when you were reading the script for the first time, when you were looking at it, were you saying to yourself, how deep am I going to have to dig to get to that character's point?
Well, I knew I would definitely have to dig deep because it is a very special, intimate story. And I knew the relationship between the mother and son were extremely important and extremely strong. And I knew that love that the love that the mother has for her son was the most important part of the film. So I read it and I fell in love with it, and I knew it was a very personal story, and I was on board. As soon as I shut the script, I was like, I want to do this. It's an incredible story, and a female lead that not a lot of people get to play. So I was really excited about it.
Not exploitive, not in any way condescending to the female experience or to the motherly experience.
Not at all. I think it's an honor to the female experience and the mother experience. I think that being a mom is not easy. I'm not a mom myself, I should say, but I have people in my life that I love very much, and I can imagine, caring for them and doing everything for them. So I related on that level, but a mom that's a hard job, and it's not always just roses and whatever happiness. So I knew that it was going to be a dark and emotional experience. So I was ready for the journey. I was excited.
I've told people that I could watch a movie of just your character, Charles, of just your exploits in Mid-Texas, obviously before the events of the third act, obviously, because that winds up being Orange is the New Black. But was there somebody from your past that you looked at and said, yeah, I think I'm going to... You model it on that person, because it was such a rich character for the screen time that you had with it.
Well, you should meet half the bozos I roll around with. I had a lot to draw from in terms of just fun-loving, dare I say, losers in my history. I mean, I probably have been one for most of the years. So it was just a combination of the writing, and I mean, the story really spoke to me as well, and it had a lot of teeth, and I knew that it also needed to have some levity, and I was happy to be able to provide some of that, and it was just like it was just a really human character. It was outlandish, and Eric and I talked pretty early on about kind of the type of guy he was. We tried to figure him out, because you don't want to just clown around, but once we started figuring out, okay, well, this is the kind of music he listens to, and this is the kind of style that he never left, and this is the kind of car he drives, then I really just had to be that, and it was strangely comfortable.
You're not embarrassed by that comfort?
No, I'm not. It's hard to get embarrassed about much in this business.
Lindsay, I'm curious about your relationship with Jonathan Offset, because there's so much great interplay between you and he, and it just winds up where at points, and it sounds corny to say, and I apologize for it, but it almost sounds like you almost feel guilty on looking in on this relationship between the two of them. Talk a little bit about first off, when you first met Jonathan and were building that relationship.
Well, it's always hard when you first start a film because a lot of times you don't have the luxury of months of rehearsals like you do in a play. So you're all of a sudden, you're meeting your son, the boy that's going to play your son, literally the day that we're shooting or the day before we're shooting. So at first, he's a normal kid and he's shy and he'd never, this is his first acting job. So it was kind of a challenge to, to get him to kind of open up to me. And the first few days of shooting were kind of a challenge because he didn't really know me. He was kind of shy. Luckily, some of the scenes that we shot early on, it worked. His shyness and kind of naive, personality kind of worked for the scene. But, the more that we got to know each other, the more I kind of got his personality. I kind of knew how to get things out of him. And I remember, shooting some of the later scenes, I had to really kind of go against the script almost to get a certain reaction out of him, just because I knew that would, evoke something in him that we needed in that moment. But he's such a fun little kid. I have a lot of nephews. I have 6 nephews. So I'm around a lot of kids, so I kind of knew how to get in there. And he's such a charming, sweet boy that we just had a lot of fun. By the end, I knew him really well, and we were joking like we were friends, like buddies, as opposed to mom and son. So,
is there? Hot Texas shoot, and literally the middle Central Texas heat is nothing to joke around with, and especially on a film set where the hours are stupid and everybody is just on edge. But I'm curious what the mood was like for you guys as you were in the middle of the shoot.
It's surprisingly light. Given what we were dealing with. The heat. We didn't have a ton of money. The locations were tight. Curtis's place was probably that was the hardest one because there was it was small and hot. But with Jonathan, Jonathan's just he's a little prankster, and it should be noted that he'd never acted before this, and so that presents a whole different set of challenges. And Lindsay did an exceptional job, as she said, kind of getting just playing with him, like playing with him in the sense that you play with a kid, not play with an actor. That's a different sort of play. Like that's all very, we think, and he just wants to play, and you got to get him in the mood to play, and then some really good stuff can happen. But everybody came together on all of it. The wardrobe people were excited about their jobs. Everybody was very excited. Set design. Everybody was excited to be doing this film. And so the days seemed to swim by for the most part. At least for me, I didn't have as big of a workload as Lindsay did, but the people involved had a lot to do with like the thing feeling like good, thank you and thank you over there.
Thank you, unnamed you.
Yes, it's you out there in the darkness.
The directors over here just actually you better see something.
Yeah.
I'm a little curious about I call it the dance party scene because it's hard to figure another word for it, but there's a sequence with you and Jonathan towards the end of the film. And you're saying you're playing with Jonathan, making sure that he's in the right moment. Did you find that there was any kind of pre-gaming for this, or did you just crank the music and let it ride?
We cranked the music, and I feel like the first few takes, it was just me going crazy, like trying to have a good time, and I'm like, Jonathan, get into it, I was like really trying, and he was not having it. He was like, this lady's crazy, what is she doing? But then he kind of loosened up, and I didn't ever let go of my craziness. I was like, if I keep my energy up and I keep provoking him, he'll get into it, and he eventually did. But I think there's probably lots of takes of me just like doing air guitar and to myself.
How many takes do you think?
I don't know. I would say a handful, maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7. I can't remember. But it was.
I'm not asking you to testify in court.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
It was probably a handful.
Yeah.
But it was that was one of my favorite scenes to shoot because it was bittersweet because I knew what was about to happen. So I wanted this to be really fun for him. I wanted this to just be our moment to celebrate and kind of forget what's about to happen. And it was really fun for me to shoot. I had a lot of fun.
Months pass between when you shot the film and the cast gets back together. Was it almost shocking to see how much Jonathan had grown in the time since you had seen him?
Yeah, he first of all is taller than I am now, and I have a deep voice. I know that. His voice is almost as deep as mine, so I think he's grown up.
When you hear how people react to this film, and I'm a jaded critic. You see hundreds of films, but when you hear people like me who have a reaction to this, it's got to be heartening just as actors to have that kind of a performance in a film like this.
I'm very excited that it's out there, and as you said, I'm excited the type of film that it is, where it sticks with you. Even after watching last night's screening, I said there's a lot of text messages going around today. Like people are like, you got to see this film. I want to, I want to talk about it because it does pull you in a lot of different ways, and there's hard moments. There's moments that really win, and so yeah. I mean, I'm happy to be a part of it, and I'm certainly happy that it's getting a release or it's getting out there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, for me, it was, such a strong story and such a small story that it's just these this very insulated little world, but it speaks volumes in its emotional, just how emotional, and you see the struggle, and it's just a small little film, but huge as far as emotion goes. And I loved being able to play a female character that is, she's flawed and she's trying her best, and she, in her mind, is doing the most important thing for her son, but on the outside it looks like she's messing up. And for me, that was really interesting because in her mind, she's doing her best, and she's flawed. So I thought that was really fun to play with.
And plus, it's the reality of the surroundings. It's not, again, being exploitive towards, lower income families or single parents or anything like that. It's just, this is how it is.
Because every family is like that, right? I mean, it's not like there's no perfect family out there. There's nobody that has a perfect dynamic. Everybody's got their unique and, flawed relationship. So I thought that was really interesting.
You will get a chance to see this movie because it will not stay contained in the festival circuit forever. And once I fix Eric Hueber's hard drive, we'll be able to get the website up where you can see more information of it. Check it out on Facebook. You can also find more information at dallasfilm.org, where we keep tabs on the films that are alumni of the festival. Charles, Lindsay, thank you so much for a fantastic performance, and thanks for coming out to the festival, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure.